Hello, a warm welcome to Eye on Africa. I'm Rochelle Ferguson-Biya here with the top stories on the continent for you. Cameroon prepares to release Anglophone activists after President Paul Biya called for proceedings against them to be dropped. They were detained last year in connection with unrest in the country's English-speaking regions. A suicide bomber kills 2 policemen in Algeria's Tiaret region. It's the second such attack this year. And as Muslims prepare to celebrate Eid al-Adha, one of the biggest feasts in their calendar, Sardi sheep are particularly in demand. We bring you a report from our correspondents in Morocco. But first, in Cameroon, a decision by President Paul Biya to stop legal proceedings against 3 so-called Anglophone leaders is being seen as a small victory for the country's English-speaking regions. Lawyer Felix Nkongo, university professor Fontebnebe and the former Supreme Court magistrate Aya Abin are among some facing charges linked to an ongoing crisis in the southwest and northwest regions. Well, our correspondents Marcel Amoko and Zigoto Tichaya sent us this report from Yaoundé, where one of the activists has already been released.
A pack of journalists has gathered to get a glimpse of the man of the day. Sitting in his living room at home in Yaoundé, Paul Biya, former Attorney General at the Supreme Court, has been fielding questions and answering the phone non-stop.
Personally, I have nothing to say.
After 8 months in detention, he refuses to comment. At his side, his wife Valentine recalls her husband being in excellent health the day he was violently arrested earlier this year on January 21st.
On the one hand, I'm happy, and on the other hand, I'm not, because he came out of this house in good health, and now he has to take medicine every day.
The Cameroonian presidency issued a press release to announce that the charges had been dropped against the former senior magistrate and other leaders of the crisis that has paralysed the Anglophone northwest and southwest for more than 11 months. For his family, it was an inappropriate way to announce his release.
We would have expected the press release to go further and explain that Mr. Biya did nothing, that they are really sorry and apologise to his family.
A few kilometres away at the Yaoundé military court, the lawyers of other Anglophone leaders waited all day for the release of their clients.
We've been waiting for 8 months, so honestly, 24 hours or a few more hours won't make much difference.
With schools reopening on Monday after the summer break, the president's decision could help to ease tensions and allow for a peaceful start to the new school year in Cameroon's English-speaking regions.
In other news, the Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for a suicide bombing which killed 2 policemen in western Algeria this Thursday. The assailant blew himself up at the entrance to a police station in the country's Tiaret region. 1 police officer was killed instantly. The other died of his injuries after the attack. For the very latest, Mustafa Azouk is in Algiers.
It all started at 8 a.m. in the morning this Thursday when a suicide bomber tried to blow himself in a police station, but luckily 2 police guards stopped him from doing so, but it wasn't enough. He blew himself, killing 1 police officer, 2 police officers, and injuring another. Well, the suicide bomber has been identified as Bouchita Ben Aissa, nicknamed as Abu Jihad. Well, he is a local resident of Tiaret. He has been followed by the security agents and has been known to intelligence services in Algeria. The place was sealed and the investigations are still ongoing, although 3 suspects have been apprehended by the security forces, and the investigation are still ongoing to find out the motives behind the attack.
Zambia's main opposition leader, Hakainde Hichilema, has slammed his 4-month imprisonment for alleged treason, calling it an abuse of the judicial system. Hichilema was released from custody a fortnight ago after being detained for failing to move aside when President Edgar Lungo's motorcade passed. Well, speaking in Cape Town with the South African opposition leader, Mmusi Maimane, Hichilema said his time behind bars had made him stronger.
Despite all this brutality that we suffered, despite all this inhuman treatment that was meted on us by those in government, I can assure you, 1, it made us stronger than before we went into jail. Number two, and this is more important, we are not angry, we are not bitter.
In DR Congo, motorists are becoming increasingly frustrated owing to a shortage of fuel. Dozens of petrol stations have closed in the capital, Kinshasa, amid concerns that the situation could worsen. Well, many residents suspect fuel suppliers are seeking to hike up the prices. The Congolese government, though, has called for calm. Clément Bonnereau has the details.
Long queues outside petrol stations as motorists wait for hours to fill up their tanks in Kinshasa. Some stations have completely run out of fuel, leaving many users angry and frustrated.
We've crisscrossed the city all morning, only to get a few liters of petrol. Some stations are closed. We asked to see what was happening. Apparently, they want to raise prices.
Kinshasa has been experiencing shortages since Wednesday, and there are fears the rest of the country could also be affected. The government and fuel suppliers are blaming each other for the current situation. DR Congo's national oil company insists it has enough supplies, but petrol stations say they can't get their hands on them. Motorists, meanwhile, have their own suspicions. They accuse suppliers of trying to hack up prices at a time when the country is already facing skyrocketing inflation.
In the evening, some stations closed earlier than usual, but we've been told that there were sufficient supplies. We don't know whether they want to increase or lower prices. We don't understand what's happening.
The Congolese government, meanwhile, has appealed for calm and said it would meet with industry leaders this weekend to try to solve the crisis.
Staying in DR Congo, questions are still being raised about when presidential elections are going to be held. Now, the Electoral Commission has said lists containing the names of over 40 million eligible voters are nearly complete. The opposition, though, has cried foul, claiming that the number of voters registered in government strongholds is abnormally high. Here's what one opposition member had to say.
There is a clear willingness to cheat, to modify the electoral lists, to skew the numbers. That's why we demand that the UN and election specialists take a look at these lists and tell us what they think.
On Friday, Muslims worldwide will celebrate al-Adha, one of the biggest feasts in their annual calendar. During the sacrifice feast, Sardi sheep are particularly in demand. The Sardi breed hails from the plains of southeast Morocco and can cost up to €1,000 each in the run-up to Eid. Well, Sarah Doublier, Georges Vardy and Jean-Marie Lemaire sent us this report.
On the arid plains of the Shaouia region sits Bereshid, one of Morocco's main agricultural areas. All kinds of animals are raised at this renowned farm, but the most famous are its Sardi sheep, Morocco's favourite breed for Eid al-Adha. Ben Barik Feniri has been working for over 30 years to improve rearing techniques across the country. Today his host carries a wide smile. Almost all of his sheep have been sold. His flock are considered as among the best of Morocco's Sardi breed.
That one weighs 115 kilos.
This breed is sought more for its vitality and appearance than for its taste.
It's sheep meat, not really any better than Timidite or Benny-Gill sheep. People buy them mainly because they look good, and children love to see rams like this one.
This pedigree ram is worth around €500. One advantage for Sardi breeders is that it only takes a year to produce and sell an adult sheep. This male has been brought in to ensure the continuation of the breed. He's worth around €1,000 to his owners. He will need to fertilize plenty of ewes in order to maximize profit. Sheep markets are packed across the country in the run-up to Eid al-Adha. There, Sardis sell for around €250 each. Breeders can make big profits.
Those on the other side have all been sold.
With around 8 million sheep slaughtered at this time every year, Eid represents a spike in sales for farmers and most of the rural population, making up around half the country.
That report coming to us from our team on the ground in Morocco. You are up to date with Eye on Africa. Coming up, more international headlines. Do stay tuned. You're watching France 24.
Tech 24, presented by Julia Seeger and Danonjay Kadilke.
New technology, the latest innovation and its impact on a digital society.
Tech 24 on France 24 and France24.com.